As the great Chris Boomer Berman used to say, let me be the first to welcome and say Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
If this is the first podcast you listen to in the morning, then we are the first. But,
well,
if we're not, what's wrong with you?
Exactly. I thought we're up late because you're up early listening to this podcast, right? We do it for you freaking people. Anyway, over your turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, sweet potato pie, whatever vixens you like. Mm-hmm. Hope you have a good one. Don't eat too much. Good luck with that. Don't let the tryptophan get you on the couch. Some good football games on the National Football League schedule.
They're expecting record ratings.
You know, I expect them too, and I'll tell you. But first of all, Thanksgiving is a great day for ratings to begin with. But you know, you have your traditional games in Detroit and Dallas, but it's not just that. Obviously, Detroit is a big contender, but they're playing Green Bay. They're hosting Green Bay, and those two teams are fighting in the NFC North, along with Chicago, who everyone's kind of dismissing at the time for some reason. I'm not sure why. And then, and then after that, of course, Dallas Cowboys always host, and they've started to play better now, and they're back to 500, but they're hosting the Kansas City Chiefs, for God's sake. So Patrick Mahomes comes to town. That's a big spectacle. And I'll even say I got a little bit of intrigue about the night game because Joe Burrow, the Tiger King, is back for the Bengals, and they're playing the Ravens, who need to win. So, heck, man, I think all three games are pretty exciting.
Should be. I mean, I'm really curious to see how Burrow does.
Mm-hmm.
You know, particularly behind that offensive line and having to score a ton of points because that defense is awful.
But without his top receiver who spit on a player.
No, Chase is back this week. He was out last week.
It was last week he was out. Oh, yeah, well, but that's right. I forgot they played.
But T. Higgins is out hurt. So
man.
He went into concussion protocol last week. So
Yeah. As long as he's got Chase, he'll be okay.
Yeah. Chase is back this week. So
pretty good, three pretty good games. So we look forward to that. And then there's one on Friday too, for that matter. But first things first.
Yeah. And we're up late because as Jim has a mailbag question we're going to start the show with.
Yeah, let's go.
Says, so Rick must not have gone to the Lightning game tonight. 4 goals in the first 12 minutes versus Calgary.
All right, I got a story about this, and you're exact. Who is it that read the mailbag?
Jim.
I appreciate the snarkism, but it's 100% accurate. I did not go. Here's the thing. I was supposed to. I wanted to. My youngest daughter, Alexandra, who's a huge Lightning fan, she started with me about noon saying, Daddy, can we go to the game? You're not working, are you, Daddy? Daddy, can we be done? And the poor thing, I hated it because this is the one day on Thanksgiving Eve in order to give a lot of the media and people off on Thanksgiving. We kind of do 2 days of interviews in one day, which was Wednesday. And Wednesday night, of course, the Lightning played. And so I had to spend more time, gathering information and talking to people over there at One Buck Place. I just couldn't get home, before they dropped the puck. So we turned on the TV and they're up. I mean, we watched them score 4 goals in the first period. And she's like, how come every time we don't go, they get up and they score all these goals and they win, and then when we go, they always lose? And I'm like, well, see, honey, we're actually doing them a big favor, John Cooper, tonight by not being there. So
we're going to have to make sure come playoff time that you're supposed to go to every game and can't make any of them.
Exactly. Yeah, no, playoffs. I am 0 for playoffs. I promise you I have not seen a playoff win.
There hadn't been many the last few years.
No, not
at home. Not at
good
home.
Point. Nobody's seen them. They've lost like 9 out of 10 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's nothing quite as deflating for a fan than to go to a playoff game in the NHL and you're all hyped up and then you see the team lose.
Well, there's been a lot of home overtime losses too, which is just
gut wrenching. Yeah, so sudden, so over. But yeah, no, Lightning are keeping me away, and I will continue to do so long as they win. How many wins is this now in this little streak?
It's 5 in a row for the second time this season, but they've won 13 out of 16.
13 out of 16. And I swear to you, every night somebody gets their first NHL goal, or so it seems.
Yeah, well, because there's so many guys are hurt. I mean, they're playing without 4 of their top 6 defensemen, and probably their top 3. Without McDonough, Hedman, Chernin.
It's crazy, right?
And then
to
Max
be on
Crozier.
This kind of a heater right now.
Yep, and Max Crozier's out too. And the thing is, they're playing well defensively. That's what's been driving this. It's not tonight they scored 4 early. Saturday night they scored 4 early, but it's really been what they've done on the defensive for 2 games in a row now. at the halfway point of the game, the opponents had less than 10 shots on goal.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy.
Like, and it's not just the defensemen. The forwards are playing very good. It's really good team defense, but it's been driven by how well they've been in their own end, which is why they're winning games. And Vasilevsky now 5 straight wins, giving up 4 goals in those 5 wins.
Yeah, he's kind of back. He's back. He's
Yeah.
kind of back. And when I was watching, I thought, well, gee, first of all, how bad is Calgary or Calgary? And then my second thought was, are they ever going to get the puck across the blue line on their side of the ice? I mean, the Lightning just dominated possession, at least in the early going.
Yeah, Calgary is not a good. I mean, they got off to a horrendous start this year. They were the worst team in the NHL. They've now they're the second worst because they've passed Nashville.
I got you.
But they had won 3 in a row coming into the game. So
they had. Wow.
Yeah, I mean they're playing better.
Yeah.
They're still not a good team, and their goalie's Wolf's good, except he was pulled after 3 goals.
They yanked him. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the second time in 3 games that the opposing goalie was yanked. Washington did the same thing at Washington Saturday night. So
now, when that happens, are you saying they're blaming the goaltender for these 3 first period goals?
it can be that, but a lot of times it's just to wake the team up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you guys are going to leave him out to dry. I'm not going to leave him out there.
So it's kind of a nod to the bad play of everybody.
Yeah, I mean sometimes it may be because the goalie's had a bad night. I think 2 of the 3 goals I probably wouldn't put on Wolf. The third one maybe you would. We have tips and things like that, but Calgary just wasn't playing. Like you said, they couldn't get the puck over the blue line. They just couldn't do anything early in that game, and so I think it was just to shake his team up.
Yeah. Well, they're hot as they can be, and if the biggest problem is who you're going to send down when all those guys get healthy, that's a damn good problem to have.
Well, the hopefully is that no one else gets hurt as these guys get healthy. Pontus Holmberg came back tonight, which was good to see.
Yeah.
If you remember early in the season how well this whole streak started when Zemgus Girgensons came back to the lineup. He missed the first 7 games, and they were 1-4-2 in that time. Then he came back in game 8, and that's when the streak started of 13-16. And
He's
it's
the key.
Not just because of him, but that line of Gord, Girgensons, and Holmberg was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
They were so tough on the puck. They would spend their whole time. They didn't get a lot of goals, maybe not even a lot of shots in net, but they spent the whole time forechecking in the other team's defensive end.
That's what you do.
Yeah. And that's that. Everyone thinks back to the Gord, Gaudreau, Coleman line. Now,
sure,
Girgensons and Holmberg on that line is different than it was back then. But what the similarities is that it's a bottom 6 line that forechecks and spends time out of their own defensive zone and in the other end, and just makes it hard on the other team.
That's a beautiful thing.
They can't get the puck out of their own end. They can't control the puck, and you're just dominating play that way, and you're wearing the other team down. And that's when you can have a bottom 6 line that can be that impactful. That's huge in the NHL. That's what the Marchand line, in a different way, but the Marchand line last year for Florida. Once they traded for him and had him on the third line, it was great. When the Lightning lost to Pittsburgh back in, 16, the HBK line, Hagelin and Benino and Kessel. That line was the difference in that series. Because a lot of times in the playoffs, your top 2 lines kind of cancel each other out.
Yeah.
Everybody's got great top 2 lines.
Mm-hmm.
What can your third line do to be impactful in the game? Sometimes it's scoring, but sometimes it's just the constant pressure and wearing down and keeping the puck in the other team's zone. So that third line, the fact that the Lightning have more depth this year, and we're a long ways off from postseason. But through 23 games now, the team is good. And we talked about on this podcast, this is the most talented team they've had in 5 years.
Wow.
Now we'll
Bold
see.
Statement time for Steve Versnick.
It is. I mean, the top 6 are, the Hagels, the Sorellis, the Point, Cooch, Gensel. I mean, they're kind of all been here. Gensel kind of for Stamkos, but
right.
We know they have a great top end. We know that on this team. They've got Hedman, McDonough, Chernak. We know that their top 4 defense, their top 6 forwards are great, right?
Mm-hmm.
The last few years, it's been what's that third pair on defense? What's the third and fourth line? And they haven't been impactful enough. They have more depth now, with that Gord, Holmberg, Girgensons line, and you still got Nick Paul's now back. So is Bjorkstrand on the third or fourth line? You've got so much more talent in that bottom 6 on this team now And you're seeing guys like DeStu do really well on defense as a young guy. And even when Santini and Carlisle are up now, you just have more depth on this team. The top end is most of the guys are the same. That hasn't changed. But you have more depth, you have more chances to put pressure on other teams and score goals. And that's why I say it's the most. I mean, like I said, compared to last year's team, the top 6 are the top 6. Nothing changed, right? The top 4 defensemen are the top 4 defensemen. Nothing changed.
Mm-hmm.
What's changed? Some of your bottom 6 pair. Darren Radish looks fantastic this year now. But then you look at all the forward lines and even the guys they call it from Syracuse. Everybody just is playing. Dominic James is adding so much speed to the third or fourth line, whatever line you want to call it, on the top. Elements they didn't have last season. That's why I think it's the most talented team they've had in 5. Now, how they look come playoff time, how healthy are they, et cetera, will determine a lot. But on paper and when you're kind of seeing it with the eye test now, I mean, even with 4 the top 6 defensemen out, they're winning games because their defense.
That's a solid formula when it starts with your goaltender,
It is.
and he's all world. So
Yep.
I swear I looked up a couple times and I had to count how many people was on the ice for Calgary. It looked like a damn power play.
Mm-hmm.
And Calgary was so on their heels. They were packed around their goaltender, who of course was giving up goals, but it was incredible, just watching them move it on their end, and they couldn't even get it across the blue line. So
Yep.
big game, nice game for them.
Now they have 7 of their next 9 on the road. They just finished 7 of 9 at home.
Oh,
They have
okay.
7 of 9 on the road. So
All right.
Starts Detroit on Friday at noon, and then New York Rangers on Saturday at 2 p.m. And then the Islanders next week.
Yeah, a little Black Friday action. I like it.
Yeah, daytime. So
we got hockey at noon. We got football at 3.
Mm-hmm.
Should be great. Yeah, I love the holidays, man.
Yeah, college football day on Black Friday too. So
you got the Egg Bowl, and more importantly, we might as well kind of touch on this just real quickly. The Egg Bowl might mean that finally Lane Kiffin may decide, should decide where he's going, and I'll tell you why that's important. Because I'm convinced no university can hire a football coach until Lane gets the puff of smoke in Oxford and announces where the hell he's going next. Because I think so many of these jobs, right, have A, B, and C candidates that until they know what Lane is going to do, their A candidate can't commit, or they can't, consummate some kind of a deal, because if he leaves Ole Miss, then obviously Ole Miss is open. But where is he going? Is he going to LSU? Okay, well, what about the guy that's waiting for LSU that didn't get the job because Lane took it, right? Now he's leaving to go someplace else, and so on and so on. And there was all kinds of fervor and innuendo and speculation and rumors, etc., a little bit on Wednesday about Alex Golesh, and that he was headed to Arkansas, University of Arkansas Razorbacks. And all parties, I guess, came out and said, well, no, that was no deal. That was not true. Although both Rob Higgins, I think, and others acknowledged that, of course, there's been discussions with many teams about our coach Golesh. And, we continue to tell you all that we will let you know as soon as we're ready. So, but I think Golesh has talked to a lot of teams. I'm absolutely certain he has. He didn't get the Oklahoma State job, but he's one of those guys that would be in line for one of those jobs once I think Lane decides what the hell he's going to do. I think Lane is sort of the linchpin to all these hires.
It's definitely Lane's the linchpin, but it's also just timing. Like, everyone's still got games this week. So
True.
After this week is when not only does Lane decide, and he says he's going to make an announcement after the Egg Bowl, but then everybody else too. Like, Alex Golesh isn't going to leave his team this week.
No.
So if he's going to leave, it's going to be announced Sunday, not today, not tomorrow.
True.
Like, it'll be Sunday after his last game on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the way this works when you're employed. I mean,
but very often you'll see news reports that they'll say this is a done deal long before they want to announce it, right?
Yes, but I don't know if any of the deals are done because of Lane.
That's what I believe.
Yeah.
I believe that and a lot of these guys, I mean, a bunch of them have the same agent, Jimmy Sexton, and so he's trying to negotiate deals on behalf of many different clients, some of them to the same schools. And again, until he knows, what Lane is doing, because I believe that's his client, you can't really move on.
And I still wonder if Lane may not throw a curveball to everybody.
and stay at Ole Miss?
Well, that would be one. I don't think that's a huge curveball. I think it is one. What if the New
Go
York
to a school
Giants
we
won
haven't
him?
heard?
What if the New York Giants won him? Jackson Dart's the quarterback there.
Oh, listen, it makes terrific sense. I think
And if
Lane
you're
said something about not wanting to be in the cold or that it
yeah,
was too cold
well,
or something.
maybe, but also if you're Lane, you can then coach through the playoff
You
with Ole
could.
Miss. You don't. It's not about one of the things is if you leave Ole Miss, you're going to leave during a playoff.
Yeah.
So if you go to the Giants,
The
they don't need you till after the playoff.
The schedule is really weird though, and I'm trying to think. The college football schedule and the hiring phase obviously happens before the NFL. I think it's difficult to have coaches in a building coaching. And they may, look, there's no illusions. The Giants coaches probably know they're all fired, right? But having said that, I don't remember somebody, getting a job in the NFL before the NFL season was over. Does that make sense? Like I'm trying to think
Well,
when
it's
that
true,
has happened.
but you also most of the coaches get fired on Black Monday. Dable's already gone. Like
No, I know the head coaches have, but there's a whole assistant staff that's up there
Yes.
with many games to go. They still have 6 and 7, some of them 7 games to go.
Yeah, but you
That's
know
a
what?
long
But
time
if New York,
to know that you're,
yeah, but if New York's hired their head coach before the end of the season, you got a chance to stay on there. Possibly, it's possible they want to keep you.
well, that
I
may
don't
be the case now, depending on
Yeah.
who the
Yeah.
next head coach is.
Yeah, who knows? But I mean,
Nah,
I don't know that Lane's going to do that, but I also don't put it beyond him. Although if the Giants come calling and he wants to go back to the NFL and try it, who could blame him, right?
if he wants to go to the NFL, I think well, I think he'll just say, "I'm staying here for now, and I'm not taking any college jobs," and leave
Yeah,
it at
well,
that.
he could do that. He could just wait till after the playoff,
I
and
think
then
he'll say, "I'm committed to this team through the playoffs." He won't say where he's going.
the
But
hard part is that puts Ole Miss in a bind because all the other coaches then do the
well,
carousel.
that's a great
and then,
point too. You're hurting the university you're leaving. Yeah,
Yeah, and so then then you leave in January, and they're going, well, wait a minute, now who do we
all their
hire?
coaches have gone somewhere. Yeah,
Yeah, and then assistants have gone elsewhere.
yeah. That's why the timing just doesn't work out for the NFL for him right now.
Well, and the college doesn't work. Well, it doesn't matter for him. I mean, if he's leaving,
But how does this work? Like, okay, I was thinking about this too. Like, you're a player at Ole Miss, right?
Yep.
And you're having the greatest season in school history. You're going to make the college football playoffs as probably a fairly decent seed, right?
Yep.
You could win the SEC, which isn't an everyday occurrence, and yet you're going to be told after the Egg Bowl that your coach is gone. Do you want Lane Kiffin to coach you? Does he want to coach you throughout the playoffs? Like, there's a lot of stuff there, right?
Oh,
like,
if he's going to LSU or Florida, he's not coaching the playoffs. He's gone.
but that blows up your entire opportunity to win a national championship.
Well, it does, but the problem is the transfer portal and everything opens during the playoff. So the LSU and Florida want their coach now. They can't wait till after.
It's
till
the
January.
worst. It's the worst calendar I've ever heard of. And I know college football doesn't have a commissioner, but this is why they need exactly that, or at least rules like the NFL has adopted, whereby you cannot contact anybody until your season is over. And if your team is in the playoffs, you can't contact that coach until their season is over. Right?
Yeah, but the coaches then complain that, hey, I don't have a chance.
That's true. They do. But if you're a great coach, they will wait for you. They will.
Well, except the problem is the transfer portal, which is now only open, once a year?
Well, but that's what I mean. They got to change the calendar.
But
the problem is a school calendar.
Well, that's the thing is the transfer portal is based around before the start of the
spring semester.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
But they've pushed the playoff all the way into the spring semester.
Another issue. Ugh, what a mess. What a mess college football is. Look what we've created.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have any predictions. I think I know what I would do if I was Lane Kiffin. And I'm not a Gator honk. Believe me, I covered them for 2 years and they hated me while I was there. And I didn't dislike them. But I just think if he's going to go somewhere, he should go to the University of Florida. I never really got the LSU thing. I mean, LSU is an unbelievable program who've produced unbelievable pro players and have won national championships. And
Mm-hmm.
Saban was there, and Orgeron, and Joe Burrow, and all those guys. But I don't know. There's a little bit of a cultural
Well,
divide. You know,
here's the
there's
problem with LSU right now. There's no AD. There's no school president. The
and you got the
governor's running the
governors
program.
involved, right?
Like right now, it's a dumpster fire.
Yeah,
In the way,
and
in
for
the way
that
the
matter, they
organization
haven't
is.
really settled Brian Kelly's situation
Yeah,
yet.
yeah. Is he fired? Is he not? Is he like?
Yeah,
So there's just so much noise
baggage.
and drama and baggage around that. Now, 6 months from now, it may be different. But do you really want to take that job, not knowing who the president and AD are going to be? Granted, those change all the time, and even if you knew who it was going to be, doesn't mean a year or two later it's not changed. But
Yeah, the check's going to still cash.
now the other option is they basically say, Lane, you can hire the AD. You pick the AD.
Yeah, that's true.
Kind of like Shanahan picked John Lynch to be the GM in San Francisco.
Right.
I mean, maybe you get that authority if you go to LSU and you want it because
Boy, that'd be
that's all
huge.
part of it too, right? But
Yeah.
that's where LSU, the brand, all that is huge and
solid,
blue blood
yeah.
and this, but just all the other stuff around it's just like, whoa, like, do I really want to go there? Now, the other part of this is, and we don't live in this world per se, but those coaches think I can fix anything. I can do anything. That's the mindset, right?
Oh, of course they do.
It doesn't matter what all this noise is. I'll fix it. I'll and some can, and sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. But
yeah,
they don't go in thinking, oh, this is a dumpster fire. I shouldn't take this job. They'll say, this is LSU. I can win here.
I just think of this, image that Lane must have had in his head when he started coaching of Steve Spurrier and the visor and why he does, kind of acts a little crazy on the sideline and his ball plays and
Yep.
creativity. Just there's so much of that, right? Like that's when he was growing up thinking about coaching. He had his dad as a role model, obviously, and his dad was pretty damn animated himself, but still, if in his mind he had himself coaching, like I want to do that. I want to
Yep.
be like that guy. I want my ball plays and this and that. Here's your opportunity to fulfill that image as a kid that you had of being a head coach at the University of Florida, and you got Spurrier saying, I come here, be ball coach from the University of Florida, and it would just be like, that's your dream, man. Like that's the picture in your head, little Lane, and going back to your home state and all that. I don't know. That seems like a lot to me to turn down, but what do I know? We'll all find out soon enough after the Egg Bowl, and then we can figure out where Alex Golesh is going to go, and then we can figure out who Rob Higgins is going to hire as his first head football coach.
Yeah, all of a sudden, I mean, Rob Higgins could have to hire a women's basketball coach, although maybe not till the end of the season because Jose Fernandez left so early and they have an interim coach now and a football coach right away.
Yeah, those are big jobs, big opportunities, and I'm sure Rob will do a good job trying to figure that out. But right off the bat, welcome. You want to be the head of the college sports at the University of South Florida? Here you go.
Well, and the other thing too is, USF. You talk about timing of stuff, right? And if Arkansas is going to hire him, let's say, or another school, presumably they want to announce it this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But what if USF still has it's a slim chance, but they could still make the American championship game?
Now, what would have to happen aside from them winning their final game?
I think they have to win, and then I think Memphis has to beat Tulane.
Okay,
and
that's possible.
Navy may have to lose as well.
That might be
there's
more
a
or less
scenario,
likely.
but
yeah, you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah,
probably about 2%.
Yeah, just like Ole Miss still has a chance to make the SEC championship game, but it's slim.
Yeah,
but they still have a chance.
Right. Well, that's why you play the games, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
It's a rivalry weekend in the college football, and
yep.
Florida State, and Ole Miss, and Mississippi State, and so on.
Alabama,
and so forth.
Auburn, and
the Iron Bowl's coming up. Good stuff. Good stuff. Plenty of viewing on TV along with the NFL. Speaking of the NFL, before we get out of here on this Thanksgiving day, Baker Mayfield popped up and spoke to us a little bit on Wednesday. And what it comes down to is this: they are preparing their backup quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, to play in the game. He's going to get most of the reps while Baker rests. But when we get later in the week, Friday, Saturday, if Baker is feeling pretty good and is able to go out there and throw the ball, and he says be able to rip it, throw it with velocity, then it's really going to be a pain management issue. And I basically going to be, Baker telling the Bucs that he thinks he can go. And I got to be honest with you, I don't see a scenario. And I brought this to Baker on Wednesday, but it's like, can you imagine you're a very competitive dude, clearly, and you're going to wake up on Sunday morning and you got a 1 o'clock game, and that little clock in your head's going to go off, and that adrenaline's going to fill that body, right? It's game day, It's game day, man, game day, and you're not going to play. Like I can't think of a scenario where that arm suddenly doesn't feel pretty good, where you're like, I can do this, I can go.
It's got to be pretty bad if he's going to say no,
Right? He's got to like just feel like I'm there. But I can't think of a scenario with the kind of injury he has, the sprained AC joint. Now, the one thing he said, and his injury was so much more severe with the Browns when he hurt it back in 2021. At that point, he had fractures, he had torn labrums and stuff like this. And he said, you know what? Looking back, I should not have played. I shouldn't have played. I was limited. It hurt my ability to perform. And he goes, and I got to be conscious of that. Like we got a lot of games ahead of us, and our bigger goal is to get into the playoffs and do some stuff when we're there. So he is mindful of the fact that he could make things worse for himself and for his team. But I tell you, I think it's just the sense I get is that, and they're doing it the right way. They're getting Bridgewater, all the reps, because something you don't get as a backup, right? Baker he's sore, so he needs the time off. And of course, he's now been in the system for 3 years and yada, yada, and played all those games. So you incorporate a game plan, which will be different from Teddy than it will be from Baker, but then you can quickly kind of recalibrate with Josh Grizzard on Saturday night if you have to, Sunday night or Saturday night, I guess it would be if you have to, and get Baker his list of plays.
Well, Grizzard's probably already thinking of 2 different game plans.
Has to, right?
Because the other part is if Baker plays, it's possible he gets knocked out again. Like
that's right.
You have to know that going in at this point.
Yep.
He's already banged up, so he's got to be working on 2 game plans: one for Teddy, one for Baker.
Yeah. And Teddy took all the snaps, and I know it was a walkthrough, and Baker would have been listed as did not practice, along with Anthony Nelson. He's the other one. He has a rib injury from some friendly fire. Also, some good news on the defensive front. Haason Reddick was back at practice. He was limited, but just watching him move around, seeing what I saw, I think Haason Reddick plays this week. We know that
would be huge.
I think that's one of the biggest gets they can get. And not just because they can't rush the passer, because we all know they can't rush the passer, but just to make the other team, in this case the Cardinals, have to account for a guy who could wreck your game. Like he still has that in there somewhere. So you can't just completely ignore him or try to block him one-on-one. And it just kind of changes the calculus a little bit on what Arizona would or wouldn't have to do if he's not in the game. So I think him coming back would be huge, especially if he's healthy and able to make some plays. So that would be big. So slowly but surely, Godwin will get his second game. They had him on a pitch count, 25 plays last week. He had 4 targets and just 2 catches for 9 yards. He'll be better. He'll play more. I think Bucky Irving, who we had a chance to talk to, also will play. And he will be on a pitch count. You can kind of expect him to maybe get 25 or so snaps in this game. They obviously still will have Rashad White, and they'll have Sean Tucker involved in the game plan. But 25 snaps for Bucky Irving. Let's say he touches it 10 or 12 times. Those 10 or 12 touches could be huge plays, and within those 12 touches, you might have 2 big plays for touchdowns, or something like that sets you up. So. And in talking to him, I got to be honest with you, man, my heart went out to the guy. Like he stood there and he talked about being injured. You could feel the hurt in his eyes. Like you could feel like, okay, this guy's been through some stuff, right, with this injury. And he said, look, it's the first time I've ever been hurt. And it was a very faith-based sort of answer, in terms of how he got through it. He said just about too many people to name helped him in the building. But you could feel how tough this was for him. And I don't know that there's much more behind it than that. There's so much innuendo and rumor and stuff that's just unsubstantiated, and frankly, some of it just BS. But he is ready to go, and I'm telling you, I don't know. Hey, how's the shoulder? I feel fine. I'm good. I feel fine. I don't know how he's going to play, but I will say when they turn him loose, this guy is going to be like on fire. Like he is so ready for a ball right now, and to be with his dudes in a game that counts. That it's going to be something to watch. I think this is going to be a fun reintroduction. Maybe a little more sparks than we got from Chris Godwin. Let's put it that way, because all you got to do is turn and hand it to Bucky, and Bucky's going to run it, and he's going to run it hard. So that could be good. Ben Bredesen may be back. I mean, they got a lot of guys now starting to get healthy, and and that's the thing. Like, you should be able to beat Arizona straight up. I think you should be able to beat them with Teddy Bridgewater. Quite frankly, if the rest of the team comes and decides they want to play, and maybe if you didn't have Baker in there, they would all realize they gotta row the boat a little bit harder. But either way, it'll be a hell of a game. It always is, and you can't expect Arizona to lay down. They've got some good pieces on offense and defense, and so Jacoby Brissett is going to put up numbers. He has, while he's been starting for Kyler Murray, they've actually played better as an offense under him instead of Kyler, and he's thrown about 9 touchdowns and I think 2 or 3 interceptions. So he's going to get it done. So should be a good game. But if I were a betting man, and I'm not, I would say Baker Mayfield is not going to turn this down. He is going to get up on Sunday. His arm will feel good enough, and he'll go out there and try to play. That's just my prediction. Hey, before we go, you know what Thanksgiving means? It's the start of the Christmas season. I know a lot of you put your lights up after Halloween, and that's fine.
It's 4 weeks from today, by the way, is Christmas.
I know, on the day. How about that? That said, get on down to Breitling Boutique. The malls are full, and the only place you need to go for your loved one is the Breitling Boutique. That's in the center of the mall, 2nd floor. That's where you're going to find a beautiful store with a great customer service that you have come to expect. The Breitling Company has been making the best Swiss watches now for over 140 years. They've been in International Plaza Mall for going on 6 years now. And I was there just the other day, folks, and I walked by and I looked inside the window, and that's where I saw the 2 beautiful Chronomount watches, NFL team watches of both the Jaguars and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's just a sampling while supplies last. You should see these things the way they shine, man. They are slick, and they've got the team colors on the face of the watch, as well as the logos. Absolute collector's items, and they're also affordable for the quality of watches that they are. They also have women's watches for your wife or your girlfriend. These are sports watches, very durable, absolutely gorgeous, and they come in an array of different colored wristbands to boot. But make sure you get on down to Breitling Boutique, International Plaza Mall. It's right above Santa there, a little to the left on the 2nd floor. And when you do go, let them know that you heard about it on Sports Day Tampa Bay. All right, tomorrow on the show, the big program, we're going to preview the Bucs and the Arizona Cardinals. It's Ring of Honor Day for Simeon Rice, who will be going and be inducted, which will be cool to see Sim out there. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Have a very enjoyable and safe Thanksgiving, most of all, and we will talk to you again on Friday to get you ready for the Bucs and the Cardinals. For Steve Versnick, I'm Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times. Have a great day, everybody.